Hello, welcome to a 1v1 on Minsk Pocket between RunToTheSun and Zarkcloud. This is an hour-long game, and I know that at the end of every hour-long video I say I'm not going to do these anymore because my computer can't handle it. But I just recently bought myself a new graphics card, which I'm pretty super pumped about. Look at these amazing graphical settings. Look at that smooth frame rate. Even when I'm like panning the camera at this horizontal angle and just drinking in the scenery. That's nice, right? Look at that HD Pioneer Squad. So smooth, so sweet. So, as far as that's concerned, I think I'm in pretty good shape. And I'm also using yet again, I have switched software. I like Action, but OBS can encode and record at the same time. Action, you have to record and into like a huge, like 200 gigabyte file or whatever, and then encode it afterward. It takes up a lot of hard drive space, and that encoding step takes like a long time. But OBS can just encode it right as it's recording, which is amazing. The only thing I don't like is it can't save the file as an MP4. But enough about me, let's talk about our players. RunToTheSun is an awesome player. Number 1 is Overcommando West, and at the time of this cast, I think he was like 11 or something as Oster. Maybe worse, I don't know. Doesn't matter, he's really good. That's all you need to know. And Zarkcloud I have cast before, and he beat Panzer Grenadier and Gryphon, so I think, or Big Bull, whatever you want to call him, so I think that speaks for itself. He's a very good player. Both of these players, excellent players. This should be a good game, and that's probably why it's an hour-long game, because they're just clashing with each other. It's going to be a good one. Alright, we've got Doctrine Choice chosen very early from Zarkcloud and RunToTheSun both. We've got elite troops from RunToTheSun and whatever this one's called, Armored Assaults, I believe, with the IS-2 and the T-34-85 call-in, as well as the Sturmovik, self-repair, and radio intercept. We do have Zarkcloud going hard for the left side with his first conscript squad and his combat engineers. His second conscript squad going down to the right to try and get control of his munitions. Pioneers charging him in yellow cover, and he will be forced to retreat. We do also have Grenadiers supporting, so he did not feel confident in that engagement and just let his opponent take that munitions point. Meanwhile, these conscripts moving down to the victory point, it looks like, with second conscript squad into support, and RunToTheSun is actually following up his double Grenadier start with mortar. And that's highly unusual. I almost always see an MG42 following the Grenadiers out, but it looks like he's going to try something a little different. Try and deviate from the standard build here and grab himself a mortar first, and we'll see if he can land some lucky shots. One, like against this clumped conscript blob, one nice, like, random shot could win him this engagement. Grenadiers in the back also supporting. These Grenadiers are going to get rapidly taken down at close range. Mortar lands way off target, unfortunately, and it already is being forced to reposition because those conscripts are just blobbing right up. Unfortunately, it looks like Zarkcloud's going to chase this squad of Grenadiers instead of circling around towards this one, which means that mortar's going to be relatively well protected by that line of sight blocker. We also have Pioneers moving up, mortar coming down. Oh, that was a very decisive mortar, almost wiping a squad, netting it 3 kills in 1 blast. And that will win the engagement for RunToTheSun, so looks like it paid off, not in quite the same sense as an MG possibly could have, but it certainly did win him that engagement. We do have a sniper being produced as well from Zarkcloud. Very interesting to see the Special Rifle Command and have sniper coming out first. A lot of times people like to screen at least with a scout car for that additional mobility. But throwing some snipers on the field certainly is no surprise. The Soviet sniper is quite powerful, maybe more so against Oberkommando West, but maybe not so much now that the Kugelwagen is so incredibly deadly. And it's of course always been good against Austria with their smaller squad sizes. Mine gets detonated down here. I don't know, I think that was these Pioneers. Those Pioneers triggered that mine. Both of them retreat. Meanwhile, up here the sniper is sufficient to scare off those Grenadiers. 1 kill already, it has made its entrance, forces a retreat, so it certainly did good work on the left side. Forcing a retreat is always beneficial, especially on a huge map like this. It takes forever to get back to base and then back into the field, especially when the base is tucked 1 billion miles way back in the corner. Fortunately, in 1v1, the bases are the ones closer to the exits. So, props to the relic map designers there for doing that. Mortar going out. Not sure where that's aimed. Oh, right on the building conscripts. Yes, these sandbag positions are going to be a little bit less effective. Ooh, S-mine field. Oh, he didn't quite spot the danger signs. I didn't even see them. S-mine field right there almost wipes that squad. Yeah, planting those in the shrubbery almost kind of makes it harder to see. That's what I get for playing on high settings. With all the grass and shrubs and like high contrast textures and stuff, I didn't even see the sign. If you play on lowest quality setting, it's like signpost. You can't possibly miss it. Alright, we do have conscripts moving up. Grenadiers taking shots. Models dropping on both sides. Mortar coming in. Oh, not quite as decisive as the previous one. That was a weird Molotov. The delay on that was way too long. Then again, I'm not sure what RunToTheSun is doing, running his Grenadiers straight towards those snipers. That was a massive overextension, and I'm not sure that the squad's going to make it away. Yeah, I guess they will. Snipers continuing to fire on the mortars. He's clumping his snipers so dangerously close. One mortar could just be devastating, but fortunately, the mortar did not aim it for the snipers. We also have some harassment over here from these minesweepers, and Zarkcloud is unable to harass over on the right side because of some nice barbed wire. He's going to have to produce some minesweepers of his own, which he actually has, but they're preoccupied defusing one final S-mine cluster. He actually detonated almost all of them by walking on them. But usually when an opponent plants his first mine, you know that that's the first of many more to come, so the minesweeper is pretty much a necessity. It's a necessity in any game. It's not even something that you should gauge your opponent. You should pretty much always buy a minesweeper just because you don't want to wait until you hit a mine to purchase a minesweeper. Who knows how much damage that first mine is going to do to you. It could be devastating, especially if it's a teller mine or something of that, or some equivalent. Snipers continuing to fire away. If we take a look at their kill counter, I can't because they're retreating. They're probably around like 3 or 4 each at this point. So, be getting the slow climb to vet 3. If we take a look at RunToTheSun, we will see still just tier 1 produced, no tier 2 yet. And by tier 2, I mean battle phase 2, which is tier 3, whatever you want to call it. He does have Panzer Tactician now. He's going into Grenadiers pretty hard. Still just one mortar as his only supporting weapon, but it seems to be working pretty well. He's at least holding on to his side, and he is holding on to 1 munitions, 1 fuel, 2 victory points. So he's actually doing quite well for himself, considering he's using nothing but Grenadiers and a mortar. His opponent having a little bit of difficulty breaking through because he has to constantly dodge the mortar shells, and he's being bled pretty effectively by it. It does only have 5 kills, but it's almost vet 1, so you can kind of see how it spreads its damage across the squad without necessarily getting kills, unless it's a direct hit. But the effect of the damage is often to win engagements, and that's certainly beneficial. We actually have Zarkcloud producing some incomplete sandbag fighting positions to force RunToTheSun to sort of clump up here in this smaller zone, and I think he's doing that because he's researched Molotovs, and if he can force his opponent to bunch up a little bit with those partially constructed barricades, then he can land some. He can maximize the damage he does with Molotovs. Snipers spot some Grenadiers capturing the point over here, and the manpower bleed continues. Since RunToTheSun still has not gone... Oh, yes, he has. He does have Battle Phase 2, but he still hasn't constructed the building, so he has no scout car, no way to deal with those snipers. And the snipers are also being screened by those conscripts quite well. He never gets too far away. If we take a look, he does have all 3 HQ upgrades, including the AT grenades, so 2 AT grenades on a scout car would pretty much kill it for sure. Looks like we have a pretty nice flank getting set up here. 2 conscripts moving in from the left. Molotov thrown, but it does force an immediate retreat, so no manpower bleed, but there will be a retreat engagement. That's going to make things difficult in this engagement. He then runs straight through his own Molotov, trying to maximize the effect of this flank. Unfortunately, he's sort of capping up here with the conscripts, and his snipers are just so late to the fight. They were way too late to the fight. Unfortunately, the timing on that flank just wasn't quite right, and the snipers were not able to really participate and take shots until his conscripts were already forced to make a retreat. Nice It's really important when you're executing a flank to make sure that that timing is as crisp as possible. That's some terminology I got from Breaking Bread. That's his word. He says you have to keep your flanks very crisp with this patch. The timing has to be just right. And in that case, it really wasn't. And I think that's why he wasn't able to do a little bit more damage or possibly even win the engagement. Mortar up to 7 kills now, and Grenadiers continuing to hit the field and push and harass and take territory. We do have some counter-harassment over here on the right side from a minesweeper, actually skipping the strategic point, going straight for the victory point because he wants to get that clock ticking. As far as victory points, things are not going very well for Zarkcloud. RunToTheSun has actually held 2 victory points for most of the game, I think. Or, I guess it's been pretty back and forth. Molotov got caught a little bit late by RunToTheSun, and he was forced to retreat instead of simply reposition. And I think that was a G43 upgrade that just completed right there. He's struggling for munitions a little bit. I think he's probably planting a few more mines. I don't know where they are.
Ready.
Yeah, I have no idea if he's planting more mines, but his munitions count seems a little low. Possibly because of harassment on his munitions point. Possibly because of his inability to hold more than these 3 or, I guess 3 to 4 strategic points at a time. I'm not sure, but it does seem a little bit low. Oh, he actually has another G43 upgrade cooking. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. So 2 G43s, a minesweeper, 1 S-mine field, and an LMG-42, whereas Zarkcloud still has about 250 munitions stockpiled. He hasn't really spent it on anything except for 1 minesweeper, which is about to die. Oh, but the LMG burst does nothing. Did nothing at all. Wow, look at that. That was lucky. Minesweeper gets away. Second minesweeper as well. A couple of mines, which just got swept up, by the way. I don't know if you caught up with that. Mine in the center did get swept up by RunToTheSun's minesweeper, so nice play, RunToTheSun. And all the rest of his munitions have gone into Molotovs, and probably also going to go into AT grenades and things of that nature. So Zarkcloud still has quite a bit stockpiled, but now that the incomes have evened out again, RunToTheSun taking back a little bit of territory. He has 42 coming in as well. He will have a little bit more room to play with those munitions, probably get a few more upgrades on his infantry, and getting the G43s is something he's probably doing because of how hard he's spamming Grenadiers. He has 5 squads now. And these are only 45 munitions to purchase, whereas the LMG is 60, so he's probably trying to spread the munitions out a little bit more thin over many, many squads. Mines going down here, snipers into support, lots of territory harassment going on over on the right side. RunToTheSun responds simply by moving to capture the left instead of engaging because he knows those snipers are going to bleed him really hard, and his mortar is not really quite in range to support a push over there on the right side. So I think RunToTheSun is making a good decision in that regard. We also do have 2 squads of Grenadiers being mobilized to counter-harass over on the right side. Snipers being repositioned back over towards the left to start bleeding these attempts at capture. And we also have a field gun hitting the field. I always feel awkward saying a field gun hitting the field. A field gun hitting the map. A field gun being produced. I'll say that from now on. Sniper hits these Grenadiers, and they immediately retreat. Teller mine going down right here. And I have a feeling that that's not going to get swept up. I can just sense it. Teller mines don't simply get swept up in hour-long games. I have a feeling that's going to have a pretty dramatic impact, but we'll see what happens. Grenadiers moving over here towards the strategic point. Counter-harassment finally happening over here in the bottom right from the Grenadiers. Conscripts are not going to move in because they know they can't win the engagement, but he's keeping them in the area to possibly get a good Molotov, possibly inflict some bleed before being forced to retreat. And if you can inflict a few model losses on Grenadiers, that's always good. And it looks like RunToTheSun has actually skipped Tier 2. Yes, he has, and gone straight into Tier 3 for his Panzer IV. A 14-minute, 30-second Panzer IV, which his opponent is really not that ready for. He does have one... Yeah, he does have one field gun, actually, so you know what, I take that back. He made the field gun almost at the perfect time to counter that Panzer IV, and I think RunToTheSun is going to be a little bit disappointed by the impact he's going to have. He's being screened by these AT grenades. Technically, Zarkcloud could be bluffing him, but he's not. He does have AT grenades researched, and there's no reason for RunToTheSun to doubt that. Zarkcloud has 270 fuel stockpiles, so he's done very little teching, only gone into actually both of the lower tier buildings. Good for him, actually, making use of his lower tier units, grabbing snipers from Tier 1 and the AT gun from Tier 2. I think that that's a really really fun to see that. It's so much more common to skip a tier. Nice, here we go. Hoorahing in. Oh, Panzer Tactician Smoke protecting him from the conscript AT grenades. If he had gotten a damaged engine, that would have been a dangerous situation for his Panzer IV to be in with that AT gun available to chase. So he does move out of there, but that is 30 munitions to use every time, so he can't afford to be using that too frequently, but I think that was a good use of it there. Snipers moving up to continue the bleed. They're both hitting Vet 1 just now, so that is going to be 10 and 8 kills on both of these snipers. Very nice. Molotov going out, doing some decent bleed. That's only 2 remaining. Oh, and he dives headfirst into that Panzer IV. Field gun shots are connecting. One more shot could do it. He pops Panzer attack. He needs to attack ground. Oh, he didn't attack ground. He did a weird little reposition maneuver, and it is going to get out of range, and he's going to pull back. That's a shame. Then again, that being said, that Panzer IV had to use the get out of jail free card twice in that series of engagements, and that's 60 munitions down the drain. So every time your opponent does that, that's one less LMG for you to worry about. So you can always think of it that way. It's not free. And that does matter. That does count for something. We do have some mortars moving up. A second mortar being produced. That's a little bit overzealous on the mortars, I think. I mean, his first mortar's doing well. 7 kills still, though. It hasn't really had an impact since the first 3 engagements or so. And I'm not sure this one's going to really compound that. But then again, having 2 mortars makes the battlefield even more dangerous for these snipers to be in. He's going to constantly have to be on the move with them, and it's quite clear that he has them in the same control group because they're always standing in formation and standing near each other. So if he keeps bunching them like this, they're going to be pretty vulnerable to mortar fire, and I would kind of suggest to Zarkcloud that he split the control groups on those snipers, but I guess it's up to him what he does. We do have some harassment from an AT gun as well as minesweepers moving up over here. Teller mine still has not been swept up. Minesweepers haven't been in the area. Snipers harassing. 12 kills now. And 10. Enemy forces a retreat. Mortar lands. Does not connect. And we do have some grenadiers defending behind this log. We also have harassment from minesweeper engineers over here on the right. Field gun repositioning to support in the middle. He's getting the sense, I think, that the enemy's tank is going to be repaired soon. He can no longer use the field gun to cap, and he has to bring it back up to the front lines to support in the next push. These mortars are incredibly exposed. All grenadier support has been withdrawn to prevent any sniper bleed, and these mortars are just going to get picked off and charged by conscripts. Pretty poor positioning there. I think that was almost, I think he almost forgot about them or something. And those conscripts were able to push right up completely unharmed, really, except for a couple shots from the Panzer IV. Already up to 12 kills, by the way. The Panzer IV does excellent damage, even at range, with the MG42 Top Gun and the Hall guns. Grenadiers force a retreat over here. Field gun is now Vet 2, landing very nice blows against the Panzer IV. It's going to be forced back. We also have a second field gun moving up. The Grenadiers tried to land a rifle grenade, I think, on the flank. I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to do, but he realized, I think, that if he stuck around long enough to fire the rifle grenade, they were definitely not going to make it home. He almost loses the squad, even with the pretty early retreat, due to some lucky snipes on the retreat. That conscript squad is going to be forced away. That was a bit of an overextension by Zarkcloud, I think, and he was bled pretty hard, and now that the mortars have repositioned, they're going to start firing. The snipers need to back up. He wants to continue inflicting bleed, though. Looks like he is going to be getting out of there just in time. The point is captured. He manages to grab a few more kills. AT guns also are going to be forced back to avoid mortar fire. We actually have some S-mines over here on the right, and he right-clicked the S-mines by accident while trying to sweep them, and he was shooting at them there for a second. He realizes his mistake, starts sweeping up. We do have conscripts grabbing the munitions point, while some harassment and counter-harassment happening from 2 different squads over here. A little bit of counter-harassment happening on the right to meet up with these minesweepers. He actually didn't finish sweeping up the minefield. Maybe he thinks that these particular S-mines are so out of the way that nothing could possibly hit them. I don't know. Mortars going in on conscripts, also getting sniped by G43s. Not sniped per se, but killed at maximum range. G43s force away a minesweeper over on the right, and they will finally begin to harass that right side munitions. Zarkcloud has had excellent munitions control, pretty much start to finish, and Minsk Pocket is very much about munitions and victory point control, not so much fuel control. Of course, if you can take away the fuel point right by their base, that's good, but taking the munitions on the flanks is a much less difficult to do. So it really comes down to who can control the two munitions on the flanks, and likewise who can take advantage of control of that munitions to the fullest extent. And right now, I'm not sure either of them is really taking full advantage of their munitions income, possibly stockpiling for late game abilities. Actually, that being said though, RunToTheSun doesn't really have any late game abilities for his munitions unless he's going to start spamming G43s, so he really needs to get mines down, needs to get upgrades on his grenadiers, needs to get just anything, just probably mines, Teller mines and S mines even. Probably be a good decision, since all of his grenadiers are almost fully upgraded at this point. Of course, we also need to see the pintle-mounted MG, but he does obviously need to keep a decent amount stockpiled for using Panzer Tactician, and then once he hits Vet, Blitzkrieg. Because those can drain your munitions a little faster than you think if you're not really being mindful of it and you just sort of pop those abilities all the time. Bet 2 on the snipers now, 19 kills and 20, so a combined 39 kills between those two snipers. And they are really leading RunToTheSun hard. They have definitely been doing their job well, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons that he still only has 4 Grenadier squads in addition to his 2 Pioneers and mortars, and we actually also have a pack hitting the field, so that's of course a good decision. He knows that his opponent must be saving up for call-in tanks, since not an ounce of fuel has been spent except for on the lower tier technology buildings. Oh, retreating through some S-mines there almost takes out these Pioneers. So a bit of friendly fire there from that S-mine field, but it does also come close to wiping that conscript squad for sure. So just a pretty brutal minefield on all sides. Minesweeper harassing on the right, also another minesweeper helping. So dual minesweeper harassing on the right. Panzer IV's repositioning to help counter-harass. And this push over here in the center has pretty much failed, which pushes in the center 10-2, but we do have an IS-2 hitting the field, and that's a 22-minute IS-2. So obviously he has been stockpiling his fuel quite hard for this, and even after making this purchase, he still has 233 to go. He skipped the T-3485 call-in, possibly because he just wants the heavier armor, and possibly because it has that lower manpower price tag, and he is definitely getting bled for manpower, there's no question about that. Panzer IV is moving up to counter-harass. One minesweeper is actually pulling back while the other tries to get control of the victory point. Zarkcloud doing a good job on victory point control now. He holds the middle, and he's harassing the third, and that is pretty much exactly what you need to do on Minsk Pocket. It's unrealistic to expect to hold all 3 victory points on any map, and especially on Minsk Pocket, I would say. So the best you can really hope for is to control 2 and harass 1, and that is what Zarkcloud is doing here, and he's doing it very well. We have snipers moving over here to the left side, probably going to force yet another retreat on those grenadiers, and RunToTheSun just keeps on sending those lone grenadier squads. Just 3 kills for those snipers to pick up. He still hasn't produced any form of counter to those snipers, except for, I guess, his Panzer IVs, which has made no effort to chase them down, and that's because of this nice screen of conscripts he always keeps right by their side. Any light vehicle that shows up, any medium tank that shows up, instant engine damage, and there's 2 AT guns ready to follow up. He keeps everything in very nice range to support, but he doesn't blob it all up in one giant death cluster. At least not when he's pushing. Maybe when he's repositioning, which he is doing right now. We do have Panzer IVs coming up. We have conscript push coming in. Snipers in the back to support. More conscripts in the back to follow up, and field guns here. The thing about using your strong weapons in control groups, like I think he is clearly doing, is that they get very clumped and you can't spread them out and cover multiple flanks or angles of attack. He's basically using them as if they were just one really strong AT gun. Ooh, Sturmovik strike comes in and clears the mortar in one blast. Very nice. And the second mortar, oh, gets sniped on the retreat. Both mortars cleared out, and it looks like nothing's going to stop this second conscript squad from stealing it. I think he's going to get away with both of those Axis mortars, and that is a huge turning of the tables for Zarkcloud. What an excellent push. That Sturmovik combined with the infantry successfully steals him both of those mortars. That hurts. Look at the size of Zarkcloud's army now compared to RunToTheSun's. Almost like 50% bigger thanks to that steel. That is a huge steal, and hopefully he's going to be able to put those mortars to good use against his enemy's pack, which is now going to be his only stationary defense. And beyond that, just bombard the Grenadiers and try to bleed them, pretty much the same as RunToTheSun was doing to his conscripts. Man, RunToTheSun is now in a very awkward position. It's 25 minutes in. He still needs 3 command points to call in the Tiger Ace. He does have the manpower for it, but he's quite far away as far as command points are concerned. Oh, the AT gun shot detonates an S-mine and kills the Minesweeper squad. Wow, that was tragic. And I was wrong. The Teller mine did get swept up here. Very nice play by Zarkcloud, screening the corridor with the Minesweeper before proceeding down it with the IS-2. Very conservative, very careful. He doesn't want to lose this game. He knows the opponent he's up against is using mines, and he's very smart about that. Good play. And he does still have a Minesweeper to spare there. Kind of lost that one due to some extremely unlucky S-mine detonation from the AT gun. Oh, nice IS-2 shot in the middle there. Almost wipes that squad. Second one could wipe it on retreat. Oh, but the shot goes long and the MG on top's just not quite enough, and it gets screened by a fresh squad. Very nice. Grenadiers move up. It looks like they did activate their Panzerfaust ability, but then canceled out to back away, and I think that he did get charged the munitions. Oh wait, no, it did go. He has a damaged engine. I just didn't see it go off. What I'm talking about. So he does damage the engine, preventing any further pushing with that IS-2, and he will have to back off and repair a little bit. And Zarkcloud definitely has the upper hand right now, but he's not pressing his advantage too severely. Having stolen those 2 mortars, he's just going to set himself up in a nice defensive position. He doesn't know exactly how many command points his opponent has. Of course, your own command points are a good gauge, especially if the kills and damage dealt are even, which in this case they're actually not. Zarkcloud has pulled ahead very far. RunToTheSun has more kills, but of course he's fighting conscripts with Panzer IVs, so he's going to have a higher kill count, but Zarkcloud has much higher damage dealt thanks to racking up a few successful penetrating shots on the enemy Panzer IVs, which is giving him some nice veterancy on his field guns. Where's the other one? Yeah, they're both Vet 2, so they both definitely had plenty of shots to connect with the enemy Panzer IVs. So he is in a pretty good position, but if he overextends, he knows that he's going to get punished hard for it, because RunToTheSun is quite obviously elite troops. He has seen Panzer Tactician, he has seen G43s, has not seen much of anything else, so he knows that that Tiger Ace is going to be hitting the field within a matter of minutes. And if he overextends too hard, gets a little bit too greedy pushing in against the enemy's forces, and that Tiger Ace catches him in a bad position, it can pretty much just obliterate his entire army, especially if he's keeping his AT guns clumped up like this, leaving them a little bit vulnerable to things like a Tiger Ace flank. That being said, RunToTheSun is really struggling against them. The fact that he is using them as just one big AT gun means that every time that they both fire, it's just boom, half of his tank's health is gone, and he's forced off the field, forced to repair for a long time. Zarkcloud is actually not even using the mortars for combat. He's simply using them to harass and cap. Oh, that S-mine that he neglected to sweep up all those minutes ago came back to haunt him and actually cleared that mortar on the retreat. It's pretty funny. It looks like the IS-2 is actually going to destroy it. He just can't even afford the manpower bleed, I guess, to keep all of these stolen things and his own squads alive, so he's like, I'm just going to destroy that mortar, get it off the field. It's not that useful to me. I don't have any static emplacements or bunkers or anything to be bombarding, and I need to focus more on my core of infantry with my manpower. And of course, I also have to manage the huge manpower price tags on my call-in tanks, which I'm sure he intends to continue to call in. It would be good to see some repairs going up on this field gun. Anything you can do to prevent decrewing and loss of a field gun is very important. Never forget to repair your team weapons, because they can be destroyed, especially by tank shells and indirect fire and that kind of thing, and nothing's more demoralizing than losing even a full vet full health AT gun to one tank shell just because the actual thing was low health and the AoE damage destroyed it. So it's important to keep those repaired. He did have Minesweeper engineers in the vicinity just a moment ago, but he retreated them because it looks like he recrewed the mortar. So I guess he was going to destroy it. He almost destroyed it, then changed his mind and crewed it with his Minesweepers. I guess he decided he had the manpower to justify it. We do have yet more harassment continuing on the right side. RunToTheSun really feeling the pressure now. Only 200 points remaining, and it looks, I'm surprised this is an hour-long game because it's 30 minutes in and it's looking tough, but then again it is a Tiger Ace going to be hitting the field very soon, and a Panzerwerfer of all things, so that is tier 4 from RunToTheSun. So that is a weird tech structure if you ask me. He went tier 1, then he went tier 3, then he back-teched to tier 2 for packs, and then he jumped forward in tech yet again for the Panzerwerfer. Of all interesting
Anti-personnel mines in place.
things he could have purchased, and it's interesting that he did that because he had to spend a lot of fuel to unlock Battle Phase 3, that's 60 fuel, and then his Pioneers, of course, had to spend 30 more to build the Heavy Panzer Corps, so that's 90 fuel. 90 fuel he could have put toward yet another Panzer IV if he had wanted to, but instead he thought that the indirect fire of a Panzerwerfer would be worthwhile, and I think that's because he's up against 2 field guns, and I think he's going to be trying to clear those field guns with the Panzerwerfer. So interesting decision. He certainly had the fuel to spare since the Tiger Ace has no fuel cost, and now the Tiger Ace has hit the field. His opponent, pretty ready for it though. A triple vet full health AT gun, a half health double vet AT gun, and an IS-2 ready to meet it. It's gonna come down to who can support their elite tank better, their super heavy tank. RunToTheSun does have 2 Panzer IVs available to support, but the Tiger Ace, of course, is a real beast to contend with. Could be difficult. Panzer IVs catch the IS-2 kind of in an awkward position, but fortunately its armor, even on the rear, is quite powerful. Panzerwerfer going off on the Vet 3 AT gun. He tries to reposition, but one stray rocket almost completely obliterates it. He's now going to be very vulnerable. Even one tank shell, I think, could finish it off. Tiger Ace moving in on the flank. Panzer IV moving up. This one's oddly far back, though. He does bring the AT guns about, and for some reason there's no flank coming in from down here. A strong infantry flank would definitely have helped against these AT guns, but he's just attacking from these 2 particular angles with his Panzer IVs, wiping a conscript squad that was trying to land an AT grenade. Tiger Ace wipes out this field gun. Oh man. Zarkcloud is really struggling against the overwhelming power of that thing. Getting repaired. Field gun does fire. It is triple vet. Nice penetrating shot on the front armor. 2 penetrating shots on the front armor. Miss. But he's forced to reposition. He doesn't want to lose the veterancy and he has to pull away. Oh, but the G43s finally push up from the south. And the Sturmovik is going to get called in to strafe those grenadiers, and he is forced to immediately retreat. Tiger Ace and Panzer IV destroy the gun utterly. There's still a field gun hit behind the tree over here, but I think using the default camera angle, RunToTheSun may have not noticed it. Or just forgotten about it. Out of sight, out of mind. And this is definitely turning things back around for RunToTheSun, but he has to keep in mind that his economy is completely destroyed. 90% fuel reduction, 25% manpower reduction. So he's only got 87 manpower coming in at the moment, and he's unfortunately quite low on infantry at the point when he crippled his economy, so he's gonna really struggle to bring in any infantry in. This is pretty much gonna be his core of infantry now, and he's going to have to execute really well and win himself a game using that Tiger Ace. He's probably going to use what little manpower he had. Oh my goodness. Sturmovik almost destroys the Panzerwerfer. Wow. That would have been embarrassing. What was I saying? Oh yeah, he's gonna have to pretty much use all of his manpower now to stockpile Pioneers to keep up the repair speed, because the massive health pool on the Tiger Ace takes a long time to repair. A very long time. And it's hard to compete with mass combat engineers when you're Tiger Ace, because you just can't keep up manpower wise. So it's really important that Run to the Sun push aggressively, because one of the weird things about Tiger Ace is that the Oster actually start getting weaker and weaker the longer it's on the field. So it kind of flips the standard game backwards, where usually the Axis gets stronger as time goes on, and the Allies get weaker and weaker. But as soon as the Axis bring out the Tiger Ace, they hit their peak of power, and then they can only go downhill from there. So the moment that the Tiger Ace hits the field is the moment where the Ostera is strongest. Of course, if the Tiger Ace dies, then the Ostera economy is restored to where it was before and things proceed as normal, but obviously you don't want that 800 manpower investment to die, because that in and of itself is a huge loss, and it cannot call in the Tiger Ace twice. We do have an engagement going down here in the middle, shots being exchanged at max range, neither player wanting to push in particularly aggressively. We do have the point being taken by RunToTheSun, very nice, but we have a crazy flank coming in here from conscripts, but they ignore the Panzer IV target that they definitely could have got. A T-grenade going in on the Tiger Ace does not penetrate the engine, and that squad will be forced to retreat. They are actually doing very nice damage to the pack on the approach. Damaged engine on that P4, very nice. Pack does not reposition, he's too busy microwing his tanks, and the Panzer IV will have its engine damaged. The IS-2 is trying to follow up, and a T-gun is moving up behind to support. Lots of munitions being blown on Panzer Tactician here. The pack actually gets stolen and recrewed. It looks like he may not be using attack ground though. Oh, regardless, a very nice shot at max range takes out the pack. And he gets crew shocked by a nice target weak point from RunToTheSun there. Very good use of that ability. That's 40 munitions to utilize. Oh, and the shot from the IS-2 does take out the Panzer IV. Very nice. We do have a flank going in behind the IS-2. Unfortunately, those Grenadiers were forced to retreat, so he's not going to be able to pull off a Panzerfaust, but the Panzer IV does take out the IS-2. So all in all, he traded an IS-2 just to take out that 2 Panzer IV. Under normal circumstances, that wouldn't really be worth it, but since his opponent's economy is so severely crippled, it actually is, because he has 26 fuel coming in. Oh, mine hit by the Tiger Ace, taking it down to half health, and it's in the face of another ISU, but look at that insane rate of fire. It just went pop, pop, because it used target weak point and then immediately fired a standard round, which is a bug that desperately needs to be fixed, along with 1,000 other bugs this patch, but that one's been around for a while, so I guess there's no point complaining about it in this particular video. Fortunately, one of those shots did bounce, so I guess that's something. Tiger Ace is going to get repaired. And RunToTheSun is just desperately hanging on at this point. No infantry left. 1 tank damaged engine. Tiger Ace almost destroyed. Barely any forces available for repairs, and he now knows that there's an IS-2 on the field. We do see self-repair going up on the IS-2, doctrinal ability. It's actually extraordinarily expensive ability, because while active, it cuts your munitions income in half, and it also costs 30 munitions to activate, so depending on how long it takes you to repair your tank, it could cost well over 30 munitions, depending on your income, how long you keep the ability active. It could cost you anywhere from 45 to 60 or 80 munitions to continue to finish repairing your tank, so I don't know what I think about that. I almost feel like that's a bug that it... Well, no, the vehicle description does say reduces munitions income while active, but I think it's kind of dumb that it also has an initial price tag, man, if it's going to also charge you after the fact, but whatever, it's unusually expensive for repairs that are only useful out of combat. Panzerwerfer firing on the conscripts on the point, probably? No, firing on the mortar crew in the back. Nice. Completely decrews it, and the Panzerwerfer is probably actually one of the best rocket artilleries in the sense that it doesn't land over time the way a howitzer does. It doesn't land in like a long series of shots like the Katyusha. It just dumps the entire load in one burst all in one area, so it's probably the best anti-blob and anti-team weapon rocket artillery, except of course for the Stuka, which is absolutely ridiculous, as everybody knows. Stuka is, for whatever reason, more durable, does more damage, more accurate, more likely to get squad wipes, and more able to aim it at along an enemy's retreat path. So basically just better in every way. And it also hits the field earlier. Not sure how that makes any sense, but alright. Panzerwerfer definitely getting the job done here, though. And Tiger Ace is one of the only doctrines you can go where you can afford the fuel for Tier 4 and then get the Panzerwerfer or Broombar or whatever. So that is one of the things I like about Tiger Ace, is that while obviously it promotes utilizing a call-in, simultaneously it also promotes teching up. So I think that that's one of the things about Tiger Ace that makes it less lame. But don't worry, I still think it's pretty lame because bringing in a Tiger for no fuel is absolutely ridiculous, and it always has been, and it continues to be. But Zarkcloud is doing a really good job of managing it, and managing his opponent's economy, really. He does know that the longer he stalls the game, the longer things go, the less and less RunToTheSun is going to have, and the more and more he's going to have. If we take a look at the pop caps right now, they're both pretty close to maxed out. Zarkcloud is a little bit behind, though, because when the Tiger Ace hit the field, it had such a decisive impact, and it really cleared out a lot of what Zarkcloud had to offer, and of course the Panzerwerfer is bleeding him rather well, too. 11 kills on there. And it looks like Zarkcloud is complimenting his opponent. Zarkcloud's a great guy. He's very friendly, very nice. Never complains or whines like some other members of his clan. I really like him a lot. And RunToTheSun is also a good sport, all things considered. He's currently on a 30-something streak, I think, as Overcommando West, so he's trying his hand at Austere for now. And apparently he says he's lost every game as U.S. Forces since the patch. So even though he's such a pro, even he struggles as U.S. Forces, so don't feel bad, U.S. players. Zarkcloud is recollecting himself here in the middle, pushing himself up toward the central fuel point. He does have yet another field gun. This one's freshly produced. He has the IS-2 moving up to the front lines, soaking up the damage. Pack is nicely positioned. It has been recruited. Unfortunately, Zarkcloud was not able to steal that or destroy it. Panzerwerfer barrage going in, probably on the field gun. But the field gun repositioned very nicely. Even before I think the Panzerwerfer was firing, it was repositioning to get in better position to fire on the Panzer IV rather than the Tiger Ace. I think he's going to rely on his IS-2 to fire on the Tiger Ace, whereas his field gun has a much better chance of penetrating the Panzer IV even at long range. Unfortunately, the Panzer IV now has armor skirts, so that's going to be a little bit less likely to give him penetration. It's kind of funny that armor skirts are an upgrade that increase your frontal armor because there's no such thing as side armor in this game. There actually never has been. There wasn't in COH1 either. The tank is just sort of split in half, and if the shot bounces on any of the front, then it's a front armor shot, and if it bounces back, it's a rear armor shot. Oh, that was a pretty nice strafe. Never mind. It looked like it was gonna be, but it actually didn't really do anything, so never mind. Pack did get cut down to 2 men, and due to the sheer tenacity of these dead Russian soldiers, the central victory point has finally fallen back into the hands of Zarkcloud. He also has a Maxim defending the victory point. It looks like a demo charge. Probably wiped a squad right here. That's what that green cover crater is, a demo charge crater. I missed it. He probably did wipe a Grenadier squad, though. I mean, he's lost 3 Grenadier squads, so they died somehow. And that demo charge is probably one of them. Tiger Top Gunner trying to take out the plane here. But the Sturmovik is actually quite difficult to shoot down. I think it actually has higher hit points than most stuff. Most planes anyway, because it seems to not get shot down as much as other planes do. And I think that there is actually a historical precedent for that. I believe the IL-2 Sturmovik was a very heavily armored plane. Heavily armored for a plane anyway. It's like a flying tank practically. Or so I've heard. And man, these snipers, I should have been commenting on them even more, but Zarkcloud has been using them flawlessly. Granted, RunToTheSun has not made any real attempt to chase and kill them, which at this point in the game I think he really should have, because they are at a combined 61 kills, which is devastating against Grenadiers to be reinforcing. That is so much manpower lost. Tiger Ace popping away at the conscripts as they try and screen for the IS-2 and the field gun, which is now Vet 2. It is moving back up, but good God, the Tiger Ace just takes those conscripts down so fast. They don't form a very effective screen. They can only take about 2 shots before the squad is forced to retreat, and then the IS-2 is going to be left trying to tank the rest of the damage. Panzerwerfer barrage going in on the Vet 3 gun. Oh, but fortunately they just didn't quite land correctly, and he does get to keep the Vet 3 field gun. Oh, but his positioning is so off for pathing or something, and the crew gets cleared, and the crew is shocked there on the IS-2 thanks to target weak point. But yet another Grenadier squad has been wiped in the midst of all of this, unfortunately for RunToTheSun, and the IS-2s yet survive, and of course Zarkcloud, despite being bled hard, still has his snipers. He still has 3 squads of conscripts, which are highly vetted as his core of infantry, and he now has a second IS-2. He has been saving up, and he does manage to bring in yet another heavy tank. And RunToTheSun, having lost one of his 2 Panzer IVs, has only his Tiger Ace, 1 Panzer IV, 1 Grenadier squad, and is just cranking out Pioneers because of his insanely crippled manpower income. Even reinforcing squads is difficult for him at this point. He does have the pack freshly crewed, and with a strong core of Pioneers, he should be able to get those repairs going relatively quickly, but he's running out of time. He is running out of time, and the victory points just aren't there for him yet. And it's going to possibly rely on Zarkcloud making a critical mistake at this point, as he's definitely outproducing his opponent quite effectively here. Victory point getting harassed by Zarkcloud will get the clock ticking in his favor once again, going to be bringing RunToTheSun down to about 100 points. Oh, please don't lose that Minesweeper squad planting a mine. He notices it just in time as the S-mines are getting planted, and I hope those conscripts don't run straight into that new S-mine field. We actually do have a Panzerwerfer barrage going in. Oh, and it's devastating. Fortunately, no full squads taken down. Panzer IV also counter-harassing on the right side, and look at that kill counter, 42 kills, 2 of which are vehicle kills, so that's no joke. We actually have Minesweeper Pioneers moving up on the left side, and it looks like that Maxim machine gun is finally going to pay off. Immediately starts firing, suppressed before they can even make it into the arc, and they are forced to retreat without even having harassed these 2 points on the way up. He's going to have to retreat all the way back to base because of that well-positioned Maxim, so that play definitely pays off, keeps the clock under Zarkcloud's control. We do have a fully repaired IS-2 in addition to the fresh IS-2 right here. Snipers are moving up to support, but there's not much they can do when RunToTheSun's infantry is pretty much gone. They've pretty much done their job, honestly, but with 68 kills, now it's up to Zarkcloud's armor to finish off that Tiger Ace and get the clock to run out. Things are getting quiet. Preparations being built by RunToTheSun. He has to be as efficient as possible in his manpower, so he's throwing up a bunker over here. How much is a bunker anyway? A bunker is 150 manpower, so not too bad. And if that pushes back even one squad from capturing this, then I would say that that is worth it because of the incredibly long retreat path it's going to have to make, keeping things under control. Of course, he just got pushed back by Maxim, so the power of that is evident. It looks like Zarkcloud is setting up some kind of flank here. He's going to have infantry making his push for the center. He's going to have to keep that timing tight, though. Infantry are already kind of going in when the armor support is nowhere near arriving. We do have another teller mine going down in the exact same spot, right in the crater. Wow, that Minesweeper squad is not being watched very diligently. The Tiger Ace just continues blasting infantry at maximum range. It just stands no chance. IS-2 flank is finally on its way. One going in straight up the middle. Another one coming in through this particular passage over here. Conscript screen is just about gone, though, by the time they arrive. S-mines being detonated. Pack is also firing. And we do have target weak point being utilized once again. RunToTheSun has munitions to spare for sure. Not really spending munitions on much of anything since he has no off-map abilities. And both of the IS-2s are going to go in really hard on that Tiger Ace. It looks like the top gunner on the IS-2 will clear out the pack, possibly. Not sure. Continues to chase. More target weak point, more smoke being popped, lots of munitions abilities being utilized here. RunToTheSun, or Zarkcloud does catch the Panzerwerfer, but for some reason he's not shooting at it. I guess he thinks that the Tiger Ace is higher priority. The pack does get cleared, but the Panzer IV is available on the flanks. That IS-2 is not going to survive this engagement, there's no way. And the Tiger Ace shot on the frontal armor does penetrate and destroy it, but this Tiger Ace is so close to being taken out. He does get to the rear armor. Nice shot. One more could do it. Does he have any infantry moving up to crew the AT gun? No, he has nothing. He is flying completely on the IS-2. Another target weak point goes out, and another smoke being popped. Will he chase? No, he will not chase. There's still a teller mine in this crater? No, I don't think so. He must have swept it up or something. So his retreat is clear, and he will be able to make it out. What a devastating engagement for both sides as far as infantry is concerned. RunToTheSun is left with only 3 Pioneers, and Zarkcloud is left. He actually, I take that back, he still has 3 conscript squads. He didn't lose any of those, but he did lose one of his snipers in the periphery of that. To, I don't even know what, maybe even the Minesweeper Pyos. Oh man, if that strafe had killed those Pyos, that would have really hurt. RunToTheSun can't afford any squad wipes at this point. Not even his Pioneer squads. He's not even close to being able to afford that with only 133 manpower coming in. Look at this, we actually have secure mode being used on the IS-2. This is a very niche situation where secure mode is actually useful on the IS-2. I even made a thread about this just today about how totally useless that ability is, but apparently in that situation, all your infantry is dead. The IS-2 is the only thing left on the field. It will get that clock ticking for you once again, so good job, Zarkcloud, finding a use for that ability and showing me up a little bit. LMG 42 being recovered by those conscripts, very nice. Sniper also moving up to support, and that's going to be way too much for RunToTheSun to take on with a lone Pioneer squad. Pioneers will get cut down by that sniper and LMG very quickly. If he can get the sandbag position up, it will definitely help him survive at least 1 or 2 Tiger Ace shots, so every little bit definitely helps. And there's S-mines just sprinkled all over the place. You can see these signs everywhere. Making it very dangerous for infantry to even dance around a little bit. We do have a fresh sniper being produced. IS-2 still really badly needs repairs, and all of Zarkcloud's minesweepers are dead, so he's having to bring in fresh combat engineers to get the repairs going, but he does have Vet 2 on that IS-2, which is massively, massively helpful. It gives it it just gets way better at Vet 2. Vet 2 is awesome for the IS-2, and Vet 3 it becomes practically a King Tiger, to be honest, and I think comparable stats. AT grenade does connect with the Tiger Ace, but the engine will not be damaged. It deflects, and the conscripts are taking massive damage from fighting tanks. Up to 60 kills on the Tiger Ace and 48 on the Panzer IV.
More of our troops have been lost.
Oh, he triggers an S-mine as he's screening for those snipers, but
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
maybe he could have stuck around to pop those 2 Pioneers, but he didn't think it was worth the risk. He's still got 250 points in the bank. RunToTheSun is down to 50 points, desperately struggling for territory. If we take a look at his units again, he's now got nothing but Pioneers, 4 squads of them. He's trying to harass the map as well as he can. He's actually got great munitions control at this point, which is interesting because he's got 300 munitions. He doesn't even need munitions that badly, whereas Zarkcloud is actually beginning to really hurt for munitions. He keeps on utilizing URA. He keeps on utilizing this extraordinarily expensive vehicle crew self-repair ability. He only has 14 munitions coming in while it's active, which is ridiculous. And of course, he's been utilizing the AT grenades when he gets the chance. Oh, the irony. Those 2 Pioneers, 2 of them just died planting mines to a mine.
Mine detectors have arrived to help us avoid...
They tried to plant an S-mine on top of a Soviet mine, and it didn't go very well for them. Yet another AT gun being produced. I'm not sure if I am agreeing with that build decision. That is quite a manpower investment if we take a look here. That's 320 manpower. That is half of another Colin. That's half of an IS-2, and he's got 630 fuel. Why not just save up and keep on bringing in the IS-2s? The field guns are not nearly as effective because they can only take like 1 or 2 shots from enemy tanks before they get taken out. He needs a heavier armor screen. He could even try to outproduce his opponent with T-3485s, to be honest. I think even one Colin of T-3485s could finish the game for him. Because they're very durable. Oh, I think a full squad of Pioneers just went down. Yes, he's back down to 3. That hurts. You just can't afford for that to keep happening. At the very least, RunToTheSun has desperately held on to this central victory point. He needs to just keep hanging on. Oh, nice S-mines, possibly, potentially wiping that squad. No, not quite. It looks like they will make it out. Panzerwerfer barrage doesn't quite connect with the AT gun. That's another thing. His opponent has a Panzerwerfer, and he keeps making AT guns. They're just asking to just bleed manpower doing that. Non-script screen accomplishes just about nothing. Gets forced away. IS-2 trying to lead his opponent, trying to force repairs. Target weak point goes out again. Crew shock. But shots are bouncing, and the field gun is putting on a little bit of damage at maximum range. We also have a pack, which has been freshly crewed yet again. And the IS-2 is actually going to capture the point. But unfortunately, the pathing here is exposing its side. Could give the enemy some rear armor hits. Fortunately, a bunch of shots are missing. Oh, he needs to be careful. He does get the point decapped with secure mode. Very nice. And he's now going to pull away. Should get back to safety for repairs. So the clock is stopped at least, but he really needs to get it ticking again. He isn't really hurting for points. He just needs to get those last 50 of his opponent's points off the clock. We do have another demo charge went off here. I keep missing the demo charges. Oh well. Probably got a full squad because there's now only 2 Pioneer squads remaining.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Pioneers continuing to be called in. He needs to keep those repairs going.
The enemy has
Lest
broken
he be
our supply
outproduced. Zarkcloud hurting for munitions again. He does have an engineer squad available for repairs. But he keeps spending manpower on these AT guns. I wish he would spend it on anything else. Engineers for repairs, his tank Collins. I want to compliment him on not just spamming Collins, because everybody does that, but at the same time, I feel like the AT guns are a mistake. They're going to do some light damage to his opponent's heavy armor. They are going to push him away from the victory point. But they're going to bleed really heavily to every single Panzerwerfer barrage, and even every Tiger Ace shot has the potential to just blast the gun and the crew and kill everybody. 2 snipers moving back up. This one is up to 43 kills. What a devastating unit that has been this game.
The squad of Pioneers has arrived.
Repairs continuing on the IS-2 using self-repair. That is just so slow. I can't even see the health bar moving. There it is. There it's going. Very slowly. I guess in a pinch it'll get the job done since he doesn't really have any engineers available. He does have the AT guns up here in the front. Doing some nice damage actually to the Tiger Ace at range thanks to their veterancy. S-mine, the last of the S-mines is finally gone. Panzerwerfer firing in addition to Tiger Ace fire on the central victory point. Almost clearing that Vet 2 AT gun. Heavy damage also going in on those conscripts, but they do get the point captured and the clock will begin ticking. Zarkcloud's favor once again. Field guns are firing on the Panzer IV. Yep, there it goes. It's dead. It only took 1 Tiger Ace shot at maximum range. And this AT gun is probably going to be soon to follow if it doesn't reposition. It is getting pulled back. This AT gun is getting completely destroyed. We do have the engineers moving up to assist. IS-2 is Vet 2 and he's going to try and actually target the infantry. No, he was just not in range of the Tiger quite yet. Tiger is being fired on. It's at It's taking heavy damage. Pops Panzer Tactician. He needs to get it back to safety. And behind his pack screen, the Panzer IV is also actually going to be circling up around and try to catch the snipers. Finally, this point in the game, it's a little bit late, but better late than never. Trying to catch those snipers. They immediately retreat, but unfortunately, the Pioneers on the point are also just taken out. And the Panzer IV is not going to chase those snipers because he knows that Vet 2 IS-2 will just obliterate him. More Pioneers hitting the field. Just Pioneers for the rest of the game is RunToTheSun's strategy here. Desperately making those. I think he's completely lost his momentum at this point. He's getting outproduced, even with the questionable build decisions that Zarkcloud is making. He just can't keep up. Because even though the AT guns are getting cleared and destroyed, it takes ages to get his tanks repaired and back on the field. The IS-2 is now at kind of 80%, and just Zarkcloud just keeps on pulling ahead with every engagement, just pulling a little bit ahead, because they trade evenly, but evenly is not evenly when RunToTheSun's income is so crippled. He has 3 fuel coming in, he can't do anything. Technically, actually, it's accumulated enough over all this time that he could bring in like a Panther or something, but he'd have to save up the 490 manpower price tag too, so. It's not easy. Shots connecting. Tiger Ace taking damage. Even at max range, the vet on that field gun, it's undeniable that the bonuses are definitely working in his advantage. Getting some nice penetrating shots in. Panzerwerfer is firing on it, but fortunately the shots landed nowhere close. He probably could have pulled into slightly closer range for a tighter spread, but he was probably not expecting it to just totally miss either. AT gun repositions, continues penetrating at max range. Look at that. The fact that RunToTheSun is at such low health, can't possibly afford to just push up and blast it a couple times with the Tiger Ace, is actually keeping that AT gun pretty relevant, and he also of course got lucky that that Panzerwerfer missed.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Snipers moving through the left. We also have minesweepers harassing the right side, and that's actually going to be very problematic for RunToTheSun. If he doesn't counter harass that right now, I could lose him the game. But I think these Pioneers should win this engagement. He's taking cover in this little like grenade splat or something. Tank blast or whatever that is. Zarkcloud is forced to make a retreat, and RunToTheSun will get that point under his control once again.
We are close to defeat. 25 points remaining.
But that's gonna be really difficult with the second IS-2 here and that Vet 3 AT gun. That's not something that that's not something he can possibly capture the point in front of. But he sees the clock and he knows he has no choice, and he's going to be forced now to make an all-in push. Panzer IV is Vet 3, moving up. Unfortunately, it's not doing all that much damage to the AT gun here. He is firing the Panzerwerfer on it, and he does manage to clear it, so that's a small victory, but he now has no choice but to make a desperate push for the central victory point. Tiger Ace trying to screen. At the same time, he wants the shots to be fired on the Pioneers if possible, but he can't afford to lose those either. He can't really afford to lose any of this stuff. Pioneers go down. Tiger Ace being screened. Oh, devastating shot on those infantry though. Nice attempt at a flank by the Panzer IV, but the combined firepower of those two ISUs is just far too much. The field gun actually gets recruited and he's forced to pop Panzer Tactician. He does manage to decapture the point, despite being under heavy fire, but yet another squad of Pioneers goes down, and finally, the Tiger Ace is destroyed. And that is the game. Wow. If anything was interesting this game, it was the use of secure mode on that IS-2 heavy tank. It's always fun to see a game where that is actually useful. So well played, Zarkcloud, doing that. I really like Zarkcloud's build here. He did make use of just lower tier buildings, and while he did utilize Collins heavily, he didn't spam them nearly as much as he could have. He had 650 fuel in the bank. Not sure that was the wisest decision. I certainly would have been spamming those IS-2s much harder if I had been playing, but it worked. It got the job done. And really, I guess that's the only thing that matters. So I think Zarkcloud played very well. I think RunToTheSun also did very well. He tried the best he could with such a crippled economy. I think if he had pushed a little more aggressively when his Tiger Ace initially hit the field, maybe he wouldn't have struggled so hard as the game dragged on. But either way, both of these players are excellent, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please send me replays of your own. I'm happy to do a cast for you. I love getting requests. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.